What is up, people, and welcome back. Right, so this is Zcars. I'll take you through where I am now. I've progressed a little bit. So, as we can see, the floor is in. That's not in, by the way. I was just measuring that. Right, so the floor is in. So we've got a couple of bolts in each end, so we can make sure that it's where it is. Basically, it's all lined up. And I've drilled through for those. But what we're having the issue with, because the body and the frame was put together wrong, if we look under here, it doesn't fit. Yeah? And the front subframe at the moment it's like that. These have got like a male end on them. You can sort of make it out. It's up in there. And this is the female end. And they're not together properly, both sides. So, what they did to overcome this fuck up was the bulkhead here. They literally cut the bulkhead and inserted this through the bulkhead so it was on the inside of the car, which just looked terrible. So what I'm going to do is cut these off the front subframe. Yeah, then we've got to make this fit the body properly. I think it needs extending a touch because the cage itself here is too far back. Ideally, this tube should be touching this bulkhead, and I can get my fingers down there. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut these off. Then we're going to make these fit the body right. Then all we're going to do is we're going to notch away at this tube, until this is hanging off the frame by this point, perfectly square. Then we'll make the clearance cut between this and the bulkhead, which is 3mm. Then insert this, and it's going to get a nice weld on it both sides. That way, it's fitted properly. And because the fuel tank's in the front of this car, really, this firewall needs to be complete. You know what I mean? So, we've got to do that next. That is what we're going to focus on. I've made my first line, which is this one, which wraps around and goes onto the engine down there. I ended up using a 60° there and a 90° on the other end, and I've just joined that up, sleeved it. I'm putting -6 in there for draining the tank, so that'll have a line running off down there somewhere for draining the tank. This is my little valve block, I call it, that Price Engineering did me. So the water pump is going to be here. Here is like a shroud, and the water pump is actually going to be behind it. So this 19mm is going to come straight off there onto the pump, then from the pump back to that blue hose. That blue hose there is just going to join to that blue hose. So I've started messing around with hose positionings and stuff. I was going to AN fit all of it, but the amount of work and machining to get all that done is a lot of work. So I'm going to AN all the front to that point there, and then the coolant lines are going to be push fit because the water pumps push fit anyway, and they're plastic. So that's what we're working with there. Right, so what we want to do now is I'm going to put my big piece of wood under the whole car. Normally I have it through the cage, but I want it under where that bar is, so it holds the floor flat too. Then we're going to drop the front subframe off, cut them back legs off and make them fit first. Right, let's get cracking. cracking on this, shall we?
Right,
They're in and drilled. Those are the top two. And here are the plates. Alright, and they're bolted through. Bolted up through. So they're on there and they fit better. I also have to modify the angle of the plate. What doesn't help is that those plates on there don't seem to be square. Well, they're probably square and flush with each other. But then you've got a fiberglass floor in there. What is it that everybody just interrupts you? So yeah, the bulkhead in the fiberglass isn't square. It returns, so I've had to reshape these on the bender to get them as best as I can. But they're better than what they were. So now what we've got to do is put subframe, that's the male, up inside the female, and then we've got to cut these to the right angle and shape, or until we can get it sitting where we want it to. Well, let's chuck that up, shall we? So that's locked in, and we're down on the bulkhead. So now what we're going to do, I'll show you. Look down there. Here. Right, so you look down there, look. There. So we've got to square that up. Both of them. This one's pretty square, to be honest. So what we're going to do is we're just going to square that one up. See what the gap is. Minus it off that gap. Because we've got quite a bit to go yet. And then when we get low enough, we're then going to mark our hole for our steering column. Steering rack. And column, or whichever. Because I want to have the smallest hole as possible there. Right. Well, this is going to be fun, isn't it? All I'm going to do is reach down with a pen. So we're going to get ourselves one of many Sharpies. Yeah? And then all you do is just go around it like that. Easy. Oh. Right then, people. Skipped on a bit because my old man came round and we just, you know, crack on and just have a laugh. So, the back plates, you saw me get them to the point where they were on. And then all I did was slowly notch away this tube until it fitted perfectly right. And then re-welded it on. So now both these plates fit as and where they should, even though we've had to extend them. All right, and we're all bolted in up here. So it's a trick for most people. Normally you'll put the Allen key bolts facing down because they look all pretty. When you're bolting a frame or a floor or a chassis together, the main point you want to put the bolt coming through, because it's easier to see a nut that's disappeared than a bolt in a hole without a nut on the bottom. Yeah, that's why all my bolts always come through from the bottom. And you get floor clearance, even my little ones at the back. Everything comes through, because then you'll see when the bolt has disappeared. It's not there, so you know it's not tight. Steering rack is on, and I put my boot in. That is just a mini steering rack boot. And that's all it is. Just sits there. It's just to fill the hole, because ideally you want this firewall to be well, you want it to be fireproof, but being fiberglass, there is a joint that comes up here, so we're going to get it as best as we can. So we've done that. The floor is actually bolted in now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some more fixings here just to hold the centre up, so it'll come from the floor to there, maybe a couple either side, just to give it a bit more support. That's it. That's all I've done really. I've just been talking. Yeah. So, quick recap. What we've done is we've made new mounts for the floor, longer to reach there, because I didn't want the plate on the other side of here was in here, and I didn't like it. So now it's underneath. So we've extended it. We've chopped the legs down, because we extend that way, the subframe went like that. So I kept notching away until we fell level again. Welded it up, painted it up, steering rack hole. That's about it, to be honest. I haven't done much. But today, that is it, because it's 9 o'clock at night and literally the wife's going to kill me. Right then. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. See ya. Oh yeah. Just from the eagle-eyed people, these are the main bolts. These are only in there at the moment. What they do is they hold the splitter up. So they will come from the other side and tighten up. But I just drop them in as a locator. These are actually the main ones. These are just 2 mates. Yeah? Just thought I'd add that to clarify. See ya.